Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into a conversation about what happens to our communication under pressure and, you know, how to keep our relationships intact even when setting those
Yeah,
boundaries. It's an interesting journey, really, from how our minds react to pressure, all the way to some solid techniques for staying calm and clear.
for sure. What really caught my ear was the idea that pressure doesn't actually create bad communication. It just unveils our untrained communication habits, right?
Absolutely. Pressure exposes the habits we might not even have noticed, like that moment in a meeting when your heart races and suddenly your thoughts are all jumbled.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like the pressure spins the spotlight onto our unscripted responses.
I love that analogy. Like a spotlight on stage, showing you what you really bring to the table, whether that's prepared or not. And then there's the whole point about survival mode. Your brain just, well, goes into self preservation.
Oh, definitely. Under pressure, logic takes the back seat and emotions drive the car.
Uh huh.
That's why sometimes we end up rambling or um, sounding defensive when we really want to be clear.
Which makes the idea that communication under pressure is a trainable skill really uplifting. It means no matter how jumbled things might feel, we can um, work on it. What's your take on that training aspect?
Well, it's like learning a new sport. Even if your first attempts are clumsy, with practice, you can perfect your moves. There's a clear pathway, managing your body, simplifying your message, all of it.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
idea that you can train your response is empowering.
Right. It's not about dodging pressure, that's unavoidable. It's about how you respond to it. And the content really nails the common scenarios where pressure crops up, like interviews, client calls, and even that nerve wracking can we talk text.
Yup, it's almost everywhere. Even everyday interactions can hit you with unexpected pressure. The key point is that it's not about eliminating pressure, but how we adapt in spite of it.
And speaking of adapting, the calm first rule is crucial. Like, take a deep breath before letting your thoughts run wild. That's pure gold, isn't it?
Exactly. The calm first rule basically says slow down your breathing, signal safety to your brain, and then let your words flow. It's like flipping a switch from panic mode to clarity mode.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Although I do wonder, sometimes just a deep breath might not be enough in the middle of an especially heated conflict. Would you say there's a limitation there?
That's a fair point. I mean, in a really intense moment, a deep breath may feel like a drop in the bucket. But the idea is to cultivate calm as a habit, so that even when it feels hard, you already have that muscle memory in place.
I get that. True, it's a kind of preemptive training. Now, once you've got that calm, the content lays out 5 main techniques to communicate effectively under pressure. Can we break those down?
Sure thing. The first is to pause before you speak. Even though silence might feel like an awkward gap, it actually gives your brain a moment to organize.
Yeah, it's like giving yourself a mental breather. Right. That pause isn't a lapse, it's intentional. And then there's simplifying your message. Under pressure, we tend to overcomplicate our sentences, right?
Yeah, totally. The advice is to use short, clear sentences. It's all about clarity above all else, even if it means using fewer words. There's real power in
Exactly.
simplicity.
And the third technique is to acknowledge the situation openly, like saying something as simple as, "That's a good question. Let me think for a moment." It diffuses tension by admitting that, yes, the pressure is there.
Right. You're naming the elephant in the room. It's a humble move and builds rapport by letting the other party know you're being honest about the pressure.
Then comes the fourth tactic, focusing on the next clear step rather than the whole, often overwhelming problem. I love that one. It's like chopping a massive task into bite-sized pieces, isn't it?
Exactly. It's like taking one bite of an elephant at a time. Concentrating on the immediate next step helps you sidestep that overwhelming anxiety.
Spot on. However, do you think sometimes focusing only on the next step might oversimplify things that, deep down, need comprehensive solutions later? Just wondering if there might be a risk there.
That's a thoughtful point. The intention isn't to ignore the larger picture, but rather to manage it incrementally. By not getting lost in future uncertainties, you build a stable platform to later tackle the bigger issues.
Yeah, that's a good balance. And lastly, controlling your tone. It's amazing how a calm tone and measured pace can transform a conversation, isn't it?
Absolutely. Your tone is like the soundtrack to your message. A lower, steady tone conveys authority and calm. It's not just what you say, but how you say it that leaves a mark.
That's brilliant. I mean, just think about a scenario in a team meeting where someone's question catches you off guard, and instead of panicking, you say, "I didn't expect that. Let me think for a moment." Then drop a calm, confident response. It can really shift the dynamic.
Exactly. And there are even real-life examples mentioned where, in conflict, shifting the tone by saying, "Let's slow this down and focus on the issue," immediately reduces tension. It shows that you're not just reacting, you're leading the conversation effectively.
Yeah, that resonates. And what about handling mistakes? It's inevitable, right? The content points out that when you slip up, the focus should be on recovery rather than beating yourself up.
Yes, exactly. The recommendation is, if you make a mistake, quickly regroup by saying something like, "Let me rephrase that more clearly." This recovery shows confidence and a commitment to clarity, rather than a need to be perfect.
Absolutely. Confidence in recovery is key. It's refreshing to hear that mistake management is about reasserting your presence rather than wallowing in perfection. I mean, our best moments often come after stepping back and correcting course, right?
Right on. The overall message is that while pressure is a constant in life, panic isn't. With practice, you develop a kind of presence where even chaotic moments turn into opportunities for impactful communication.
Very true. And I really like the way the content ties it all together with the idea that our preparation truly matters. So, when pressure hits, pause, breathe, simplify, and trust in your own training. It's actionable advice that we can all implement immediately.
Precisely. It's like, think of communication as a performance. You can't avoid the spotlight, but you can choose how you shine in it. Whether it's a tense meeting or a personal conflict, these techniques create a framework for maintaining clarity.
Yeah, it really gives you the roadmap. And that framework isn't just theoretical, it's practical. Each of those techniques, from pausing to controlling tone, serves as a tool that any of us can pick up to enhance our communication skills immediately.
Exactly. And for me, the empowering part is understanding that boundaries don't have to damage relationships. When you're clear and confident about what you need and how you communicate, those boundaries actually foster healthier interactions.
That's key. I love that perspective. It shifts the narrative from setting boundaries as potentially confrontational to them being simply part of a clear and respectful conversation. And there's so much value in that.
Definitely. It's all interconnected. Managing pressure, owning your voice, and safeguarding your relationships. When each of these elements is in harmony, even stressful situations become opportunities to reinforce your presence and authenticity.
Yep, that's the takeaway. And honestly, it makes you realize that, well, being prepared for those high-pressure moments is something we can all work on daily. It's not reserved for big crisis communications only, but everyday interactions too.
Exactly. Plus, it's a reminder that our best communication habits are often revealed in the toughest moments. With these techniques, we can transform potential missteps into confident, clear exchanges.
Very inspiring. It's been a stimulating discussion. I feel like these ideas not only empower us to deal with pressure better, but also to build stronger, more authentic relationships through better communication.
For sure. So next time you're caught in a high-pressure moment, remember, pause, breathe, simplify, and trust your training. That's how you set healthy boundaries and communicate with impact.
Absolutely. Thanks for such an engaging breakdown. It really drives home how actionable all these strategies are. Till next time, keep mastering that art of communication under pressure.